Hi, my name is Anne Brady and I welcome you to our Mentoring Writers Resource Box podcast. Listen to learn more about the writing world. After all, the more you learn, the better writer you can become. When it comes to describing a character in a story, we need to be able to make them so realistic that the reader will immediately formulate a vivid impression of the person in their minds. Learning how to describe a character in this way is essential when writing compelling stories. To help you do this, we are today going to discuss how to make your characters become living, breathing people to your readers, and yourself, of course. Let's get started. Number 1. Try to focus on those details that will reveal a character's personality and psychologies. Describing a character's hair or eye colour doesn't tell the reader very much about them. So when introducing a character, always try to focus on details that reveal their personality or psychology. In Crime and Punishment, the author describes the character of Katerina Ivanova, who suffers from tuberculosis, as follows. Katerina Ivanova had just begun, as she always did, at every free moment, walking to and fro in her little room from window to stove and back again, with her arms folded across her chest, talking to herself and coughing. Dostoevsky, the author, conveyed the fraught mental state of his character, as well as her restless nature. The coughing is a reminder of her life-threatening condition, and the fact that she continues to pace despite her discomfort suggests determination. In the acclaimed short story Free Radicals, author Alice Munro manages to compress her powerful narratives into short forms. Munro describes a recently widowed woman coming to terms with her husband's death. Every morning, when she first took her seat, she thought carefully of the places where Rich was not. He was not in the smaller bathroom, where his shaving things still were, along with the prescription pills for various troublesome but not serious ailments which he'd refused to throw out. By describing the details of Rich's shaving tools that remain in his absence, she is creating an impression of the now absent character and the emotional effect it is having on the female character. He was, of course, not out on the half-scraped deck, ready to peer jokingly in the window, through which she might, in earlier days, have pretended to be alarmed at the sight of a peeping Tom. The picture portrayed by Munro combines the character's behaviour, that of Rich joking at the window, while showing details of the half-scraped deck. This simultaneously creates a sense of both character and place. These are very effective, as they show Nita's process of remembering not only the mundane, but also the touching and characterful elements of her late husband. Always prioritise the unique features of your characters. A large part of learning how to describe a person convincingly is being able to show what it is that makes them unique or distinctive. Charles Dickens was a master of characterisation and did it expertly. Dickens, in his novel Hard Times, describes the schoolmaster Thomas Gradgrind as a man of facts and calculations. The emphasis was held by the speaker's mouth, which was wide, thin, and hard set. The emphasis was held by the speaker's voice, which was inflexible, dry, and dictatorial. The emphasis was held by the speaker's hair, which bristled on the skirts of his bald head, a plantation of furs to keep the wind from its shining surface, all covered with knobs, like the crust of a plum pie, as if the head had scarcely warehouse room for the hard facts stored inside. Now that's quite a mouthful. Now, although Dickens describes his character's hair, he still uses a striking visual metaphor, a plantation of furs. This quickly leads us back to the description that shows the schoolmaster's fact-obsessed nature, as if the head had scarcely warehouse room for the hard facts stored inside. Dickens then takes the description of the obstinate and fact-based Gradgrind further by writing, "The speaker's obstinate carriage, square coat, square legs, square shoulders, nay, his very neckcloth, trained to take him by the throat with an unaccommodating grasp like a stubborn fact as it was, all helped the emphasis. It was the one single defining detail, that of Gradgrind's bullish nature, expressed through the description of his dry and dictatorial mouth, that is the basis for most of the description. We must question, would it have created the same sense of character? Whether Dickens, had he simply said he was balding and inflexible, often lecturing the students about facts. However, we have to admit that the unique details Dickens brings to the man makes Thomas Gradgrind's especially vivid. Write descriptions of your character's body languages and gestures. Showing your character's gestures and actions is an integral element in bringing your characters to life. A character's movement, body language and gestures can and will describe a lot about their personality and psychological state. Going back to Katerina Ivanova's anxious pacing, we find it conveys her mounting fear over her husband, who drinks away the little money they have. Whereas in the hard times, Dickens uses movement and body language to reinforce an impression of Gradgrind as being domineering and forceful. For example, "Girl number 20, said Gradgrind, squarely pointing with his square finger. "I don't know that girl. Who is that girl?" "Cissy Jupe, sir," explained number 20, blushing, standing up and curtsying. Dickens has extended Gradgrind's squareness through the description of his pointing finger. The pupil's responding behaviour and gestures clearly show the schoolmaster's dominance, and we see the girl's body language as it conveys both her own bashfulness plus the fact that Gradgrind wields stern authority over his pupils. Of course, Dickens could simply have used dialogue for the schoolmaster's inquiry, but by describing Gradgrind's gestures, we get a clear sense of his dominant, demanding persona. Allow internal contradictions. If you want to make your characters fascinating, then allow them to have internal contradictions. Doing so will help them show their human complexity. The tough talker also has a soft side, but only reveals this to a select few. Only at a pivotal moment does the anxious worrier reveal what a surprising strength he has. If we look at the beloved children's classic, Winnie the Pooh, we know the character of Piglet is full of fear, yet he still accompanies his friend on a daring mission to spy a heffalump, a fearful monster of their imagining. It's the same in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings cycle. It is Frodo's simple and faithful friend, Samwise, who willingly accompanies him into the villain's heartland long after other characters more fitting for the task have departed. When describing your characters, try to imagine the small contradictions and inconsistencies that real people often have. Doing so will stop you from creating stock character types. For example, the brave warrior who is invulnerable and unstoppable. Give every Achilles his vulnerable heel. Read writers renowned for their characterization. If you want to learn how to describe a person brilliantly, then you should collect strong character descriptions. One of the best ways is to read those authors who are noted for their strong characters. Russian author Anton Chekhov and of course Dickens are both good examples. An example of Chekhov is when describing his character Mikhail Petrovich Zotov, an old man in his story The Dependents. Mikhail Petrovich Zotov, a decrepit and solitary old man of 70, belonging to the artisan class, was awakened by the cold and the aching in his old limbs. Zotov cleared his throat, coughed, and shrinking from the cold, got out of bed. In accordance with years of habit, he stood for a long time before the icon, saying his prayers. To whom those names belonged he had forgotten years ago, and he only repeated them from habit. What Chekhov is conveying here is the age of his character, and he does it well via his aching with the cold, as well as his patchy memory. Chekhov then deepens his character description by sharing Zotov's thoughts in a later paragraph. "What an existence," he grumbled, rolling crumbs of black bread around in his mouth. "It's a dog's life, no tea, and it isn't as though I were a simple peasant. I'm an artisan and a house owner. The disgrace." Again, Chekhov combines a portrait of the character's psychological state with a description of his appearance. Grumbling and talking to himself, Zotov put on his overcoat, which was like a crinoline, and thrusting his feet into huge, clumsy galosh boots made in the year 1867 by a bootmaker called Prohorich, went out into the garden. We recommend you keep a journal, collecting various character descriptions that strike you as effective. Categorise them, creating sections such as description clothing or description faces, etc. This will become a useful source of inspiration to go through when you are sketching out your future characters. Create character sketches to inspire you as you write. Another easy prompt to help you when trying to describe your characters is to have a character bio sheet to check out. If you can write fuller, wider details of your characters on a crib sheet, it will help you flesh out your characters in greater detail as you write your story. This way, you will have a blueprint for each actor within your story. Adding any new elements of the characters you have created to your bio sheets will also help keep you updated as you write, and may come in useful if you are writing a follow-up book. Whether or not you use this tool, even creating a mini bio sheet for each character as you write will also help you keep on top of those elements that are important for your writing. Note down the following: biography. Where were they born? What is their occupation? What were the most formative experiences in their life? Interests, goals, fears, strengths, flaws. There's all sorts of things. These are only some of the details you can work on. To draft a fuller portrait of each character, keep them in your mind's eye. We at Mentoring Writers offer our mentees what we term a character's profile sheet. When first starting writing about their characters, we ask them to fill in the basics. As they progress, they add more and more information. If you would like a copy of this, then email us contact@mentoringwriters.co.uk, placing character's profile sheet in the subject box. Using exercises and prompts to help you describe a person to improve your craft. If there is an area of you struggle with, such as how to describe a person so they come alive, it will help if you use exercises and/or prompts for practice. By writing about each element of your character's physical description, as well as using movement and gestures, you will be able to give your characters a more authentic feeling depth. Here are a few exercises to help you start your character description. Number 1. Describe a woman's face in a moment of anger. You should use at least one metaphor, e.g., her mouth is a, and then fill in what you think her mouth is like. Number 2. A woman discovers she has won the lottery. Describe her emotions using body language and movement as she goes from elation to anxiety and back again. And number 3, a man has found out his friend has committed a great deception. Describe how he approaches the friend from the friend's viewpoint. Show the friend realising he's been found out. You can also create exercises using scenarios from your story. This is a useful way to focus on showing the underlying emotion or drama of a scene effectively. And that's it. Characters are, and should be, in a writer's ed, real people. We live, eat, sleep, make love, argue, laugh, cry, welcome them, and we leave them. In fact, sometimes we even want to murder them. You must treat your characters as if they are alive. This is why a lot of writers talk to themselves, me included. I once told my husband, if I ever mention another man's name in bed, he wasn't to get worried. I wasn't having an affair. It was just that he was either a character from a book I was writing, from a manuscript I was reviewing and editing, or from one I was judging. I must admit, it made me laugh when he said, "That's okay. As long as he's a butcher and you can bring some good steaks home, I don't mind." I think he has a warped sense of humour sometimes. Anyway, have a go and see how you get on. If you need help with any aspect of your writing, are interested in the other services we offer, or would like to chat with a mentor, then please check out our website. Or why not email us contact@mentoringwriters.co.uk and we will endeavour to assist you in your writing journey. Have fun living with the characters you create. This was Anne Brady bringing you a Mentoring Writers Resource Box podcast. Thank you for listening and we hope you will join us again.